Hello, welcome to Mushabbar from the capital of Sweden, Stockholm. How you can find accommodation in Sweden second hand and how you can do that in a safe and secure manner. Let's talk about that. Of course, we are not going to talk about the Facebook groups. I know that you can use some Facebook groups, but they are not secure, they are not safe, but we can talk a little bit about them later on, that when you may need to use them. There are probably many service providers in Sweden that you can get help from to find your second hand accommodation, but I have listed here these four. And these are qasa, Blockath, Bostad, Smartrig and Bostaddirekt. There are probably some more, but we can talk about them later on if I will use them. But these are the four ones that I have used in the past, and I am going to use them as well in the future, and I know them, they are very secure. So let's talk about that one by one. Qasa and Blockath.bostad, they are basically the same thing. Blockath is a very well-known company in Sweden. Almost everyone in Sweden has heard about Blockath. You can basically buy and sell second-hand anything from Blockath. Whatever you can imagine, you can use Blockath for that to buy and sell. You can also use Blockath to buy and sell property, and you can also use Blockath to rent property if you want second-hand. And for that part, few years back, Blockath has made an agreement with qasa, and now Blockath is using qasa in the back end. So from the front end, from the user interfaces, from the portals, you may see two different companies, but on the back end, it is basically qasa, so it is the same database, so it's the same services. So it does not matter if you are using qasa or Blockath.bostad, you are going to end up using the same service and with the same features. And they both are very secure, both for the landlords and also for the tenants. So what are their main points and how they are so good or so safe both for the landlords and the tenants? First of all, they are using paperless system. They are providing digital lease. It basically means you need to use your digital passport, which is in Sweden is called Bank ID. Bank ID is probably more secure than your passport. So with the Bank ID, they can verify both the landlords and also the tenants. They are doing background checks, credit checks for all the tenants. So basically, they will check the financial condition and strengths of the tenants, and the tenants will have to use this Bank ID digital passport to sign the agreements, and they will be legally bound. So there is very low chances of any kind of fraud or scam. Basically, practically, there is no chance of fraud or scam. And also they are checking landlords in a similar fashion. So it is a trustless system. Landlords are not required to trust tenants, and tenants are not required to trust landlords, and still the system works very fine. This is based on a zero trust model. In the security domain, we often use zero trust. You do not need to trust anyone, and all the checks and balances will be done by qasa. This system is good both for the landlords and also for the tenants. Landlords are getting guarantee that even if the tenant don't pay, they will get money for up to 6 months, and on exact same time. It's 25th of every month. So it does not matter if tenant has money or not, the landlord will get the money. And how they can provide this guarantee? They are providing this guarantee because they are charging a minor fee. The landlord and the tenant probably don't see that small fee, but they will charge a small fee from the tenants. It's roughly about 4.5%, and some part of that fee will be used to buy probably other insurances that they will use to handle these kind of cases. And also, since they are doing credit checks on the tenants, so they already know that tenants have good condition from financial point of view, and also since they are using Bank ID to make legal agreements, the tenants are bound to pay what they have agreed with. So if the tenant is from Europe or from within Sweden, they cannot run away. There are legal measures to make sure that the tenant is going to pay to the landlord. Even if they don't pay on time, this company qasa will handle all the payments, but the landlord will always get the payment on time. Another good thing for the tenant is that if the tenant is not going to use any kind of third party service provider like qasa, but if they want to have make direct agreement with the landlord in Sweden, the landlords, they require some kind of deposit or security money that is somewhere between 1 month of rent up to 3 months of rent. If the rent is 20,000, the security deposit could be like 50,000, which is a huge amount. And if the tenant is going to use qasa, they don't have to pay any security deposit. So this is very good for the tenant, because now they don't have to pay a huge lump sum of money as a security deposit to the landlord. Instead, qasa will manage all kind of issues if they arise in the future. If any kind of damages will arise in the future, then qasa will manage that, and they will manage based on these legal agreements that they will make with the tenants, and also by utilizing this 4.5% of the fee that they will charge from the tenant. So I think this is very good system both for the landlords and also for the tenants. There is no chance of corruption or scam or something like that. Now let's talk about Smartrig. Smartrig is also providing similar services, so there is not a huge difference. You also need to use bank ID or similar kind of digital passport to identify yourself towards the Smartrig, and the rest of the features are more or less same. The only thing that is different that I have found so far is that they are providing 12 months of guarantee to the landlord. So even if the tenant is not going to pay anything for 12 months, they will protect the landlord and they will provide that amount of money to the landlord for up to 12 months. And they will tackle how they manage tenant. So I think Smartrig is also very good platform to use, since they are competing with qasa, so they are trying to become more better and they are providing more competitive service than qasa. So I did not know about this 12 months, now I know that, so I will definitely use them. And the fourth one in my list is Bostaddirekt. In Sweden, Bostad means basically housing. So this Bostaddirekt, this is also a well-known company in Sweden. They exist from many years, but they are more professional. They are targeting enterprises as a customer or corporations as a customers. So they provide business services mainly to the enterprises and also to the corporations. But they are also providing services to private individuals. They are providing more personal services. So often they conduct interviews both with tenants and also with landlords. So they are also pretty safe and secure to use them. Now all these 4 service providers, they are going to charge some kind of a fee, roughly 4.5% to the tenants. And with the help of that fee, they are providing these exceptional services. This is little bit more expensive for the tenant, not much, very little, but tenants have to pay like 4 or 5% more than if they can make some direct contact to the landlords. But this is very good system, it is safe and secure, and I don't think that many landlords will make direct agreements with the tenants, because in that case there will always be trouble. But in some cases landlords are making private agreements directly with the tenants, and those happens if, for example, tenant happens to know the landlord and if they trust each other, and also sometimes when landlords are not authorized to rent out second hand. So many times, like in Facebooks. In the beginning I said I will talk about Facebook groups for the accommodation later on. There are several Facebook groups which you can use to find the accommodation, but in those kind of systems you can also find good alternatives which are legal, but in many cases things which are not correct or which may not be legal that happen in the Facebook. For example, if you remember from my previous videos, there are 3 kind of living and ownership rights in Sweden is hyresrätt, bostadsrätt and äganderätt. The people who have property that classifies as a bostaddirekt, they are less likely to make any kind of direct agreement with the TNet because they have legal authority to rent out their property second hand and to get as much profit as they want. But in other two cases, hyresrätt and bostadrätt, in most cases people don't have the authority to rent out second hand, and also there are limitations for how much money they can take and on what conditions they can rent out. And I think most of the time when you will find opportunities in Facebook groups, they either falls into hyresrätt or bostadrätt. As a TNet, you need to think about that as well if you want to have a legally correct place in Sweden, or if you are only looking for a cheap place and you don't care about the legal issues. Maybe many times you have already heard this, that in Sweden, when tenants are renting places second hand from the landlords, some of the landlords don't allow them to use the addresses as their legal living address. They don't want them to register their living address in the Swedish population register, and they do that because this is illegal kind of renting. They don't want that authority should know that they are living at that places. If you do not want to end up in this situation, then probably you should not use Facebook groups, and instead you should use these safe and secure service providers. They are probably more, and if I happen to know them or if I will use them, I will let you know. And also if there will be minor differences between these 4 service providers, I will let you know because I am going to use them in my future time. So that is all for today. If you need to know more about what kind of living rights and ownership rights people have in Sweden, and they are a little bit complex for foreigners to know about them, like hyresrätt, bostadrätt and äganderätt, then please watch my earlier videos. Thank you to all of you. Goodbye. If you like this video, please share this video to the whole world. We are confident that this channel is going to have a huge impact. This channel is going to change some of the lives of the people. So please subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon and stay tuned.